DeShawn thought he knew everything about his wife of 5 years. He had no idea she was $70,000 in debt, and that the real secret she was hiding would destroy them both. DeShawn and Tanya Williams had built what looked like a perfect life. 5 years of marriage, good careers, a beautiful home in Atlanta, and what DeShawn believed was an unshakable partnership. But on a Tuesday evening, everything he thought he knew came crashing down. It started with a phone call from the mortgage company. DeShawn had been trying to refinance their home, a smart financial move, he thought. But the lender told him the application had been denied. The reason? A mountain of debt sitting on their combined credit report, nearly $70,000 that DeShawn had never seen before, ever signed for, and never knew existed. When Tanya came home that evening, DeShawn was waiting for her. He didn't raise his voice at first. He just turned the laptop around and let the numbers speak for themselves. Tanya froze. She knew exactly what she was looking at. What started as a few online purchases years ago had quietly spiraled into something she could no longer control. Designer bags, luxury clothes, jewelry she hid in the back of her closet. When one credit card maxed out, she opened another. When that one filled up, she turned to buy now, pay later apps and payday loans just to keep up with the minimum payments. She had been juggling this secret for 3 years, robbing Peter to pay Paul, convincing herself she would figure it out before DeShawn ever found out. But DeShawn found out. The argument that followed was one of the worst of their marriage. DeShawn felt humiliated, blindsided. He couldn't understand how the woman he shared a bed with, shared a bank account with, shared his entire life with, could look him in the eye every single day and say nothing. He didn't just feel betrayed by the debt. He felt betrayed by the deception. But then Tanya said something that stopped him cold. Through her tears, she admitted that the shopping had never really been about the clothes or the bags. It had been about pain. A pain she had been carrying alone for 2 years. Tanya had discovered she was unable to conceive. She had gone to the doctor without telling DeShawn, received the news without telling DeShawn, and then buried herself in shopping because she didn't know how else to cope. She felt like she had failed him, like she wasn't enough. And every time she felt that shame creeping in, she pulled out her credit card and bought herself a few hours of relief. DeShawn was speechless. He stood there trying to process 2 devastating revelations at once. His wife couldn't have children, and she had kept that from him for 2 years. The debt was one thing. But this felt like an entirely different kind of betrayal. He walked out of the kitchen that night without saying another word. And Tanya sat alone at the table, surrounded by the wreckage of every secret she had kept, wondering if she had finally kept one too many. Now look, I'm not here to drag Tanya, and I'm not here to villainize DeShawn, but I have to be honest about what I see. Tanya's problem was never really about shopping. It was about silence. She made a decision repeatedly to carry her pain alone instead of trusting her husband with it. And that silence cost them everything. $70,000 is a number you can work through. Broken trust is a different conversation entirely. DeShawn deserved to know about the infertility. He deserved to be a partner in that pain, not a stranger to it. When you shut your spouse out of your struggles, you don't protect them. You disconnect from them. And disconnection is where marriages go to die. My take? Tanya needed professional help long before it got to this point. Not just financial counseling, but real emotional support. And DeShawn now has to decide whether love is enough to rebuild what silence destroyed. So let me ask you this. If you were DeShawn, could you forgive Tanya not just for the debt, but for hiding the infertility for 2 years? And do you think Tanya's shopping addiction was really about the money, or was it always about something deeper? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear where you stand on this one. If this story hit home for you, make sure you like this video and subscribe so you never miss a story on the Agreed Path. Every week, we're getting into the real conversations about love, money, and what happens when the two collide? Comment below and let me know your thoughts, and I read every single one. Until next time,